What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. DMZ Season 2 is here, and with that comes a refresh of all of the missions for the factions in DMZ. Previously we looked at White Lotus, and today's video will cover all of the 7 tier 1 missions which make part of the Legion faction. Now these missions are fairly straightforward, and the idea behind tier 1 is that they're not too hard and they essentially introduce you to mechanics and systems inside DMZ to kind of get you used to the mode. So therefore we'll tackle each one of these in little bits and essentially look at tips and tricks for each one of those to get you through these as fast as possible and onto tier 2. Let's go. Our first mission is called Investigative, and this essentially has two parts. One part expecting you to travel to Al Sabwa Quarry, which is of course on the left of the map, and the other one expecting you to travel to Airport, which is of course in the south, kind of like right of the map, in one deployment. Now I do want to mention that this mission currently seems to be bugged, so you don't actually have to do it in one deployment. At least I didn't do it in one deployment. In one deployment I went to Airport. In the other deployment I started at Al Sabwa Quarry wanting to go over there and then go down to Airport, and it still finished the mission. So I hope that's still true for you. Otherwise, go by foot, go by car, go by plane, whatever. Just go to each one of these two areas and this mission will be done. Then mission 2 is Creator class, and basically this expects you to infill with a customized insured weapon. Now everybody starts with one insured weapon slot, so if you did not play in season 1 or you haven't unlocked additional ones, at the very least you will have that one slot. And this mission expects you to drop into a game of DMZ with that insured weapon and then simply also just exfiltrate again with that weapon. Now I've seen some funky things happening with people when they drop the weapon and re-pick it up, or they put it into their backpack and re-equip it, that it doesn't actually give the credit. So just to be safe, be sure to keep the weapon in your hands. Don't swap it around with other weapons, don't drop it, don't throw it into your backpack, and simply exfiltrate with the same mission, well, with the same weapon, and you should be done with this mission. Mission number 3 is Health Conscious, and this expects you to loot a medicine cabinet. Now these are often found in bathrooms as well as in hospitals, so just look for any one of these. You can easily see them sometimes within showers, in the bathroom, whatever. It's got the little red cross on it, and within this you will find the items also that you need to do step 2 and step 3 of this mission for. So one IFAK needs to be extracted. This is a new item that was introduced in season 2, and also 2 bandages. Now you can also find bandages and IFAKs lying around, but they have a much higher chance of appearing in these medical cabinets, and once you get all of those things and get into an extract, you will get this mission done. Then number 4, and we got some good speed going in, is Key Elimination. Now there are different contracts in the game. One of them is eliminating an HVT, which is usually an enemy that's surrounded by a bunch of guards, most often level 3 or tier 3 enemies. You have to pick up one of these contracts and then simply find this HVT and kill them. Now with the introduction of season 2, HVTs are one of the best ways for you to farm keys, and step 2 and step 3 essentially plays into that by you taking whichever key the HVT drops for you and then going to that locked location and using the key to open that up. Now I have a whole host of videos for key locations on the channel, so whichever key you get from this HVT will most likely, there will be a guide for it, so simply Google it underneath my channel and you should be able to find it quite easily. Go open that space and this mission will be done. Mission number 5, and we're almost at the end, is called Frame Job. This is actually a mission that has come over from season 1, so those of you that played season 1 will be familiar with this. Basically the first step wants you to go to a buy box and buy an LTV with a gun on top. All buy boxes sell these LTVs, so simply pick the nearest one you can get, rustle the cash up together. I think it's 14,000 off the top of my head if I'm thinking right now, and simply buy this vehicle. Then for step 2, you're gonna drive your ass over to the city, which is of course in the north of the map, and you're going to use this turret to kill 15 enemies. If you want to be really spicy, simply go park off at a service station and just pop out like I'm doing here and just mow down the enemies. Even if they shoot you and everything like that, you can just quickly hop out and have your car repair itself if you run into any spicy situation. Then last but certainly not least, when you're done killing these 15 people, you drive the vehicle over to the marsh region, which is kind of like in the middle of the map right below city, and you simply kill the vehicle. So blow it up or something like that. If you want to like blow it up with explosive, you can do that. You can take it apart with bullets. LTVs are not as tough as they used to be, so it shouldn't be too difficult. You can even throw some explosives and stuff at it. Once that's done, the mission's done. Number 6, buried barrels. So this essentially wants you to tackle another contract that you can also find in the game, namely the secure radioactive material contract. So this contract has some steps in it. Usually the first time when you pick it up, if you don't have a Geiger counter on your character, the first step will show you where to actually acquire a Geiger counter, usually in a box somewhere. So you go over there, you get that. As soon as you have the Geiger counter in your tactical slot, now you will see 2 rings that you can go to. There's barrels in these rings somewhere hidden, which the Geiger counter will lead you to, and there are some materials in these radioactive caches which you can sell for money, namely the rods, for instance, that you can get quite a bit of cash for. And as soon as you loot 4 items from these caches, usually these caches have at least 2 items in them. I was fortunate enough to get all 4 of my items from the first cache, but once you do that, you're also going to be done with this mission. Then we have the penultimate mission for the Legion faction in tier 1 called Muddy Water. Now this is kind of like a difficult mission simply due to the fact that it has to be done on the new area, Ashika Island, which not a lot of people are familiar with, and it actually expects you to go to 3 different areas and grab 3 different items and then actually extract those 3 items. Now you can do this 1 item at a time, and if you are playing solo, that's kind of like what I would advise. There's simply too many people running around in Ashika at the moment trying to do this mission as well as other missions, and you're likely to run into some trouble if you try to do all 3 at once, which basically means you're back to square one. So do them 1 at a time, extract them out, you keep the progress, and you essentially knock it off bit by bit. Now, taking it straight from the top on the mission, the first area that you need to go to is the Ashika Island Beach Club, and you need to get a USB drive here. Now, the Beach Club is this round area all the way in the south of the map here that kind of like sits out into the water. And as you get closer to it, what you're actually looking for is underneath the water. So not on top, but you actually have to dive down and look for an open window that you can get into this middle area. Be careful not to drown. This has happened. I've actually been down here and watched people drown. And if you quickly need some oxygen, you can go to the middle of the room where the stairs are and go up and catch a breather by this gate here. But what you're looking for are toolboxes which are in the circular area down at the bottom, and one of these toolboxes is going to have the USB that you need. Now this spawns 1 per deployment, so this area can get quite contested, and out of the 3 of these, this was the one that I struggled with the most, having come here 3 times, and 2 of those 3 times the USB already having been snagged by another player. At this point in time, you could probably, if you want, chase that guy down and try and take it from him, or just extract and come back. But once you get that USB, extract, and the first step is going to be done. Next up, and step 2 of this mission, is to find the Ashika Island intel, which is basically hidden in the underground waterway. Now this is the most difficult one of the 3 for several reasons. Number 1, you are going to be going into an area that has a high amount of elite enemies as well as a roaming minigunner walking around, and these guys can be a huge problem for you if you are going solo. And secondly, you are basically going to be right underneath the keep, aka the middle of the map, and this is where people are trying to extract the weapons case from, so you're also very likely to run into enemy players here. So either which way, come ready for that. Either be super sneaky or super fast. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get into the waterways underneath the island. Now, you can get in there basically from either side, well, from all 4 sides really of the island, but I came in from the west. So as you see this waterway here, essentially it's a canal that goes in. You have enemies on either side of the water that can shoot at you, so take it slow and move through this area. Use the middle of the map as your guidance to working through these tunnels, because you're trying to head in the general direction of being right underneath the keep, because that is where you're going to find the intel. Now specifically what you're looking for is this little like harbory kind of area in the middle that has a submarine. If you see this submarine, you're in the right place, and just next to it will be a container that you can walk into, and the intel that you're looking for is in the corner of this container. Grab it, grab yourself an extract, and that's going to be the second part of this mission done. Then the last step is, of course, trying to find the crown intel, which is in the Ashika power plant. Now, first of all, the Ashika power plant sits to the northwest of the middle of the island, right over here. Now, this area, I've deployed maybe, I would say somewhere between 10 to 15 times onto Ashika Island at the time of recording this video. And every one of those times, this building has been a stronghold. So I don't think it's a randomized thing. I think it is all, the power plant is always a stronghold. and that means that you're going to need a stronghold key. Now, first and foremost, I don't know if a lot of players know this or not, but you can actually extract stronghold keys now and bring them into maps with you out of your key folder. This is something that you could do at some part of season 1, but eventually you couldn't do this anymore. But yes, you can actually find a stronghold key somewhere else, extract it, and then bring it into this mission, which means that you are already good to go. But let's say, for example, that you don't have that. Of course, you can go the classic way and essentially just murder enemies until they randomly drop a stronghold key. If you kill an HVT, they usually drop stronghold keys as well, so that's all good. But you are also able to buy stronghold keys from certain buy boxes. Then once you have the stronghold key, you go over there, you pop it, you go inside, and the area that you're looking for is this glassed off like sort of watch room that you have at the top there. You go inside there, there's a counter, and right in the middle underneath the counter you have this intel, the crown intel that you're looking for. Grab that, get yourself an extract, get out, and this mission will finally be done. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. That is 2 of the factions tier 1 missions done. Next up is the crown faction, so keep an eye out for that video. Let me know if any of these have been difficult for you. I would imagine that the only one that really would be challenging is the 7th one, which is Muddy Waters. And that's simply, I think, mostly due to the fact that Ashika Island is so congested right now. So one last little bit of advice I can give you, if you really are struggling here and you don't want to go in with a team and you want to do it solo, try and aim for times when the server might be more empty. So super early in the morning usually works for me, and the same might be true for you. And that's if you're struggling. Other than that, it's just super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are in the world. And until next video, fucking cheers.